You know, in business, we throw the word strategy around all the time. We also talk a lot about cybersecurity, but what if I told you they're basically two sides of the same coin? Today, we're going to dig into how a real disciplined strategy isn't just about market share and growth anymore, it's about basic survival against the single biggest threat facing modern business. So let's dive in.
So let's just start with a really direct question. For you, right now, are you absolutely positive that your company has a real strategy? I don't mean a goal or a mission statement, but a true, coherent strategy. Because honestly, there's a very good chance that what you think is a strategy, well, it isn't.
Okay, so take a look at these. These are real statements, pulled from actual company documents. They sound pretty good, right? They sound strategic. You hear executives say this stuff all the time, and they genuinely believe they're laying out a clear path for everyone.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. They're not. Not one of these is a complete strategy. They're just pieces, little fragments of a much, much bigger picture. That's like saying Hannibal's grand strategy for crossing the Alps was just use elephants. Come on, you know there was way more to it than that.
And this is where it gets dangerous. When we call everything a strategy, we just end up creating a ton of confusion. You get teams running in different directions, resources get totally wasted, and managers are left trying to figure out what to do. Because look, if everything gets called a strategy, then in reality, nothing is.
Okay, so if those aren't strategies, then what the heck is? Well, true strategy actually comes from the Greek word strategos, which basically means the art of the general. And that's the key, right? It's about seeing the entire battlefield. A real strategy is an integrated, complete set of choices that cover 5 key elements.
All right, first up, we have arenas. Think of this as your battlefield. You have to ask, where specifically are we going to be active? This isn't the time for vague answers. We're talking specific products, specific customers, specific countries. And just as crucial, it's about deciding where you will not play.
Next up, we've got vehicles. This is all about how you're going to get to those arenas you just picked. Are you going to build it all yourself, from the ground up, team up with someone in a joint venture, or just go out and buy another company? This isn't some minor detail you figure out later. It's a massive strategic choice that impacts your speed, your cost, and your risk.
Then, of course, there are the differentiators. These are your weapons. This is how you win. You see, advantages in the market don't just magically appear. You have to make a conscious choice. Are you going to win on price, on incredible service, on amazing design? You can't be everything to everyone. You got to pick your battles and choose your edge.
Number 4 is staging. This is your campaign plan, your roadmap, the speed and the sequence of your moves. You simply can't do it all at once. So, what comes first? Do you launch new products before you go into a new country, or the other way around? It's just like building a house, right? You've got to pour the foundation before you start putting up the walls and the roof.
And finally, the big one that holds this whole thing together, economic logic. In plain English, this is how you're actually going to make money. Are you going to have the lowest costs in the industry through massive scale? Or are you going to charge a premium because what you offer is so unique and valuable? Because let's be real, a strategy without a clear path to profit, that's not a strategy. It's just a nice wish.
So, there you have it. You've built this perfect 5-part strategy. It's beautiful, it's integrated, you're ready to take on the world. But what happens when the entire battlefield gets redrawn in the blink of an eye? What happens when you're hit with a modern-day siege that makes all that careful planning completely useless? Listen to this. This is a quote from a CEO after his company got hit by the NotPetya cyber attack back in 2017. This wasn't just some virus. This thing was an absolute monster that spread like wildfire, locking up servers and bringing global companies to their knees, literally in an instant. It just goes to show you how fast your whole world can change.
So what was the price tag for that one attack? $10 billion. That was the estimated global economic damage. We're not talking about an IT headache here. We're talking about a global economic catastrophe that slammed shipping, medicine, food, you name it. The stakes here are unbelievably high.
And look, don't think for a second that NotPetya was some kind of freak one-off event. Ever since the pandemic sent everyone home to work, cyber attacks have gone through the roof. We're talking 3 to 5 times more than before. Phishing, ransomware, you name it. This is our new reality. The threat is not going away, it's getting worse.
So, what do we do? How do we possibly fight back against this?
Well, the answer isn't as simple as buy a better firewall. It requires a complete, fundamental shift in how we think about this. We have to stop thinking about cyber defense as a hard shell and start building it as a core strategic asset.
What we're looking at here is a huge split in how companies think about this. The old way, the operational view, is that cybersecurity is IT's problem. It's a line item, a cost center. It creates this hard shell, soft inside kind of company. But the strategic view? That's a total game changer. It sees security as a business-wide issue, a source of strength, and maybe even a way to get ahead of the competition.
So this kind of strategic resilience, it's really built on 4 key pillars. Yeah, it starts with protecting the business, of course, but it goes way beyond that. It means broadening awareness to see what threats are coming over the horizon. It means planning for how you'll manage the consequences for your customers and your reputation. And finally, it's about being able to respond and recover, not just to get back to where you were, but to find brand new opportunities that might emerge from the chaos.
And here's another layer. This whole strategy doesn't happen in a bubble. If you're a global company, you're now playing on a massive global chessboard. And the rules are, well, they're complicated, and they're always changing.
Your ability to operate in another country? Well, it's getting shaped by straight-up geopolitics. Tensions between countries can get your products banned overnight. Then there's trust. If a foreign government trusts your company, you'll have a much easier time. And finally, it's shaped by that country's own tech capabilities and how they see the risks. It's a complex web you absolutely have to navigate.
Okay, let's pull all this together. We've talked about the 5 essential parts of a real strategy, and we've seen how this gigantic, ever-present cyber threat is forcing us to rethink everything. So the real question is, what's your next strategic move? How do you flip this script and turn an existential threat into a real advantage?
Okay, so here's the bottom line. The single most important takeaway from all of this. Cybersecurity is no longer a separate to-do list that you can just hand off to the IT team. It has to be woven into the very fabric of your core business strategy. It needs to influence your decisions on where you'll compete, how you'll win, how you'll grow, all of it. It's not an extra, it's the whole thing.
So I'll leave you with this final thought, a question to take back to your own organization. Is your cybersecurity just a tick-the-box exercise, something you have to do to stay out of trouble? Or are you building what could be your next greatest competitive advantage? The choice really is yours.